Hey, how you doing everybody? My name is CherryBoy and welcome back to Time Tenshi. Let's get right back into it. The duo walked across the open field, seeing a band of warriors in the distance. Let's hope we don't bump into whatever's going on over there.
Who cares? We're invisible to them, remember?
Yeah, but I always feel so naked in this.
Honestly, I don't know why you refused the petition I made that we should actually go in naked.
Cause we didn't know for sure that they couldn't see us, Kyo! Also, I'd rather not travel through time in the buff, thank you very much.
Shrugs, I wouldn't mind, but Michelle advised against it.
That'd explain why your outfit is skimpier than mine.
And also why it stretches better than when we grow.
Yeah, well, enough boob talk. Can we get back to work? Where are those Krontech freaks anyway?
Look who finally made it! Tweedledee and Tweedledum! So nice to see you two dopes again. Come to try to foil the plan as usual.
And why are you getting it now, Mizuki? Where's Bunny? Doing your dirty work while you talk trash? I'm right behind you, you airhead. There she is.
Gosh, and I thought we had gone curvier.
If you've got it, flaunt it, right, Mizuki?
That's right, my dear bunny. Now then, if you two would kindly buzz off, we have some work to do.
Haha, yeah, right, no. The whole point of us coming here was to stop you from doing whatever you're trying to do.
Oh, good luck. It's gonna take us a while, and the longer we're here, the bigger you two get. I mean, that applies to you guys too.
Well, the big difference here is that we enjoy every minute of it. Yeah, well, you're not gonna stay here any much longer. Rose drew her sword.
Ah, yes, the oh-so-scary sword. How terrifying.
Oh, they're gonna fight! They're gonna sexy fighting! They're sexy fighting! I don't know. I continued watching from the monitor, seeing the scene play out one bit at a time. I noticed Kyo pull out a feather duster. I wasn't sure from where, but she had one. She swiftly flicked it, a whip stretching from the tip, becoming as long as she was tall. It seemed to crackle with some sort of energy.
You better back off and go back to the time you came from. My, your powers are of intimidation know no bounds.
I'd probably give her a different voice. While Mizuki tended to have a very flat tone in her voice. Okay. I could sense the sarcasm all the way through the screen. They stared each other down, Mizuki pulling out some weapons of her own, throwing stars, and other weapons that could have been owned by the ninjas I could see it on TV. The silence seemed to hang before they all lunged at each other. Rose was a grateful sight, twirling around as Bunny went for a high kick, her stiletto heel just missing the eloquent knight's face. Rose's chest jostled around with her rhythm, and I could tell Michelle shot me a look that said, "You better behave yourself right now." Kyo stayed stationary, cracking her whip towards Mizuki, who unleashed her own series of weapons. They flew past her, and I watched as a ninja star went straight towards Kyo. She bent backwards far enough to avoid injury, but not far enough to prevent the shuriken from whisking between her cleavage and coming to a comfortable stop, much to her embarrassment. I could see her face quickly turn a burning pink color as she dug deep to retrieve it before retaliating by swinging her whip above her head and thrusting it at Mizuki's hand. It managed to latch onto her, and as soon as it did, Kyo squeezed the base of the duster, sending a jolt of electricity forth towards the kunoichi. I managed to connect, Mizuki shrieking and shaking before seemingly falling apart. Whoa, they got rid of her in time. They erased her from the time period. Her clothes seemed to disappear first, and all I could do was watch as the stark naked girl dissolved into nothingness. She did not feel so good. I felt a knock against my head. Michelle reminded me that she was indeed right next to me. Enjoying the show, perv? Hey, look, it's not my fault that their clothes conveniently fall off first. I mean, yeah, fair enough. That's all she had to say before turning back to the monitor to watch. I turned my attention over to Rose, who was struggling against Bunny. While Mizuki had seemed quick, she had been felled by a slight misstep. However, the taller girl seemed to be putting up a much stronger fight. Her legs were swift and kept Rose from moving quickly every second, dodging and weaving through the flurry of kicks and knee jabs that were being sent her way. Eventually, Bunny got a hit in. As she did, Kyo came up behind her, materializing what looked like a tea tray? Is now really the time for tea? Watch and learn, kid. The tray launched from her hand and began to glow a bright blue color, whirling quicker and quicker as it got closer to Bunny. Unfortunately, Bunny took notice before it got much closer and quickly lunged her heel to deflect the tray. It was then that I realized that the tray was a distraction for Rose, who had gone back up from being knocked to the ground. Oh, and she backstabbed her. Or butt stabbed, I don't know. Rose swiftly took her sword and plowed it into Bunny's harshly. Bunny gasped, stopping with her legs still cocked up in the air. She disappeared. She didn't feel so good either. Before anything else could happen, her clothes, like Mizuki's, suddenly fell to pieces. She didn't seem to mind, however. I could hear her chuckle. A nasty grin sprawled across her face. Don't get too big for your britches, girls. Believe it or not, we've accomplished what we needed to do here before you could interfere. But I do hope we can meet again. She was cut off from her form as her form disintegrated suddenly, falling into dust. Both Kyo and Rose seemed exhausted. Michelle sighed, brushing her long hair from her face. Alright, Kenji, go to your room. Well, I get that one. I think that was messed up. What? Why? Do you really need to ask that from how Rose was yesterday? Now go to your room and don't come out till tomorrow. And why should I?
Kenji, listen to Michelle. Trust me, when you don't, bad things tend to happen.
I couldn't believe this. Even my grandfather sounded intimidated by Michelle. Alright, I huffed, turning towards the hall and going into my room. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens next time, Michelle. And I sleep. Oh, and I'm up. An hour or so passed as I laid on my bed, thinking to myself and staring at the ceiling. Even after having a day to let it all sink in, these new things happening, these new concepts and ideas, they still made no sense. And they still frightened me. If people could go back in time now, then they could likely change things for the better. But from watching movies and reading stories, I knew about time travel, time paradoxes, and the butterfly effect. It wasn't all that easy. Ooh. I thought about my parents and about my home burning down in front of me. Dang. I thought if I could go back and stop that from happening, would it be the right thing to do? If I did that, then I'd have my family again. But then I wouldn't have never known about my grandfather's lab or met the girls. But in that case, I would never have to go back in time and stop the fire. My brain hurts. Just as I said that, I heard a knocking on my door. Come in. The door slid open, revealing Michelle on the other side. I swiftly sat up, looking at her stern face as she looked at me through the doorway. Is it all right to enter? Yeah, of course. Have a seat. I offered her a chair and she softly sat into it. She sat softly into it. She sighed, then looked up at me. Thank you, Kenji. She was silent for a moment, and the confusion slowly hit me. For what, Michelle? For leaving when I asked. I know how tempting it must be for a grown man as yourself to just leave two girls with exaggerated figures and heightened desires alone, so I commend you for your restraint. I could feel warmth rush my face as I rubbed the back of my head bashfully. Oh, yeah, sure, I mean, it's only polite. Yes, you're right, and I truly appreciate it. So in return, next time, you may feel free to visit either of the girls on their downtime. Just give them some time to recover from the effects of the time window first. Wait, so I needed permission to see them all of a sudden? Well, I suppose not, but I had assumed you knew that they could be a bit much when under the influence of said effects, but you've proven yourself to be mature enough. She stood, her short meeting seemingly over, before turning back towards me and giving me a steely gaze. But I swear, you try and take advantage of those girls behind my back, and... She made the threatening gesture of running her finger across her neck in a slicing motion. That was a knife. You won't be in the lab much longer, kid. An awkward silence hung in the air for a minute before her mood suddenly flipped into cheery, giving me a big smile before swinging my door back open. Sleep well, Kenji! And she just left with that. And with that, she left. Michelle still mystified me with her behavior, but I shrugged it off before sinking back into my bed and nodding off to sleep. And I'm up. I woke groggily and stepped out into the hallway. Standing around near the end of the west hall was Rose, tapping on her cell phone. Hearing my door open, she glanced up and beamed over a smile. She wore her usual around-the-lab outfit. Kenji, this way. I was just about to get some breakfast. I nodded and walked over to her, following her into the cafeteria. What's good? Have a seat. I'll grab you something real quick. You like muffins? Yeah, sure. That sounds fine. Cool. I'll slice one open and get it all nice and warm for you. Just take a seat. I'll join you for breakfast. Her voice was reassuring and soothing as she gracefully stepped over to the kitchen area. I heard the sound of beeps from the microwave. I sat there thinking of the events from yesterday, how crazy it was to see these incredibly intelligent girls do physical combat with other shady-looking ladies. This whole situation just kept getting weirder. Eventually, after a few more beeps from the kitchen area, Rose returned, carrying 2 plates. Each one had a blueberry muffin. Whoa, the waifu and her thickness. Hold on, can I get rid of this? Yep. The waifu. Okay. She smiled as she handed me my plate. I just noticed how tiny the muffin is.
Enjoy. I hope you like blueberry.
Thank you. And yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Oh, me too. Boysenberry too. And you ever had orange cranberry?
I shook my head. It sounded like a strange combination to me.
Oh, those are so hard to find sometimes, but they are definitely worth it.
She paused to take a bite out of her muffin. Her posture and mannerism very posh and refined.
Kyo always carries around those rice cracker things. Makes me wonder how unhealthy they are.
Well, they can't be that bad, judging by how well she stays in shape.
I suppose that's true. I do love baking all sorts of treats for her. She really seems to appreciate them. Michelle won't get near my projects though.
Why is that? Does Michelle not think your baking is good?
Nah, I think she just avoids eating a lot of gluten or something. Michelle is weird. She's really bossy and strict sometimes, but she means well.
I raised an eyebrow. Where'd that come from?
What do you mean? I was making conversation. Michelle is really sweet, but she can be a bit strange at times. Like sometimes when I go out to get a midnight snack, I see her in the lab tinkering around.
Well, that makes sense, considering she's the main technician of the time window. Rose sighed.
Ah, yeah. I suppose you have a point. Still, sometimes I hear her muttering to no one while she's in there. Just kinda weird to me. Did you want anything else, by the way?
Me? Oh no, I'm fine. This muffin is fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
I could see her blush at my compliment.
Made them myself. They were a joy to bake.
Really? You should let me help sometime. Yeah. Her head perked up and she looked up at me, a pink hue still in her shocked face. She shook her head a bit, giggling and smiling wide.
Well, I greatly appreciate that, Kenji. For now, you should go see Kyo. I heard she wanted to go out shopping for some new clothes today.
Alright. Does she really need me there?
Sigh, well, truth is, Tensai just wants you to get out of the lab for a bit, get some fresh air and a nice walk.
It's only been like 2 days.
Yeah, he just likes to worry. He worries about us too, but I think he worries about you especially, since you're kind of his grandson and all.
Don't know why. He wasn't around that much when I was growing up.
Doesn't mean he can't care about flesh and blood, Kenji. He was a busy man, and he still is.
She stood from the bench and took my plate.
Now go out and see Kyo. She should be in the entertainment room as usual.
Gotcha. Thanks again for breakfast, Rose.
It's no problem, Kenji. I'm glad you liked it.
She gave me one last broad smile before walking back over to the kitchen. I offered to help with the dishes, but she told me she could easily handle a couple of plates. Great. I went back out to the hallway and made my way into the entertainment center. And here we are with Kyo. Kyo was indeed in there, lounging, just watching TV. I sat on a nearby recliner.
Yo!
She casually waved, not taking her eyes off the TV. She looked tired. You alright, Kyo? Yes, the waifu of Kyo and her thickness, beautifulness, her bustiness. Okay. Her head rolled over slowly, looking at me with half-open eyes. She yawned slowly. It was a soft, cute, squeaky voice, accompanied by her stretching out her arms and thrusting her chest forward. I did my best not to stare, and the cute, soft, squeaky yawn went... Something like that, I assume.
I'm fine. Just a long trip yesterday. Wore me out. I heard from Michelle that you were watching.
Yeah, I was just curious as to...
What do we do out there? We're supposed to just be there so Michelle can observe history. We usually just chill out and chill until she tells us to return. Maybe go look around the countryside, follow some of Michelle's instructions that she tells us to go through the window, maybe grab a bite to eat.
Aren't you worried that if you do something like bump into someone or break something that...
What, we'd rip a hole in the space-time continuum?
I could tell from her tone that she was ribbing me, and she let out a loud laugh before explaining herself.
The way I see it, Kenji, is that when we go back in time, we travel upstream in a river. I don't believe in the butterfly effect. I believe that when we travel time, we go upstream, and we end up whenever the time window wants us to end up.
There was a silence as I took in her words. While Kyo always seemed sort of flighty, she had decent theories on time travel.
In other words, I'm not one to buy into the butterfly effect. I don't think much of time travel movies anyways.
Once again, there has another pause as she looked over at me, snickering with a sly grin on her face.
Bleh, lighten up, Kenji, come on. I got some shopping to do. Join me upstairs and help me out, will you?
Alright, what did you need to buy anyway? She took me by the arm suddenly and lifted me up, her skirt twirling above her waist. I tried to maintain eye contact with her.
Don't worry about it, silly, just come on.
She led me to the elevator and pushed the button, but not before Michelle came by, exiting the research lab area. She arched her eyebrow as Kyo's arm still wrapped around my own. You two stay out of trouble. You two stay out of trouble, okay?
Psst, whatever, Mom. Kyo stuck out her tongue at Michelle, who merely shrugged and walked away.
The way Michelle addressed us, it made it sound as if we were going out on a date or something. And as if Kyo could read my mind, she turned to me and smiled.
Not nervous to go out with a girl as cute as me, are you?
No, of course not, Kyo.
So you won't mind if I pretend that you're my boyfriend while we're up there? Okay, so you do mind then.
She said this with a wink. I had to let the initial shock pass by and I shook it off. She was obviously toying with me. I tried to play it a bit cooler. No, of course not. I don't mind one bit.
Whatever, Romeo. I was just kidding around. Keep it in your pants, tough guy.
What do you mean?
I felt myself go red as a tomato as the elevator doors finally swung open, Kyo pulling me inside and watching the doors shut behind us. Today should be interesting, I thought to myself. Now though, this is where I leave it. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like below. And if there's any other games you would like me to play, please comment down below as well. If you like this and would like to see more, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, as that would be epically appreciated of you. And as always, my name is CherryBoy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! See ya!